I just pulled off the bench where I root everything, and these are pole beans. And what I do is I start them off in these little cups. As you can see, right now they're a little bit dry. See how that's wilted? They desperately need to get in the ground or be watered, one or the other. So I'm going to show you today how I prepare the beds. So as you can see already, I got the row already built up, and I'm going to apply the fertilizer, space the plants, and we'll show you the process. So these have been in the ground. Let me see what we got here. These were planted. What I do is I take and I write the date on a piece of paper, the variety of the bean, 10/28/2012 is the date these were planted, and these are Kentucky Wonders, and all the plants that I'm using this year in the garden are all heirloom seeds. Which a lot of people don't realize, a lot of hybrid seeds won't allow you to continue to have viable seed stock for the next year. They may grow, but as time goes on, your yields go down on a lot of the hybrid seeds, whereas the heirloom seeds will give you the same yield year after year. So I went to Burpees and ordered as much heirloom as I could get from those guys, and so that's what we do. We start them in the trays, build the mounds up. Now I'm going to apply the fertilizer, and I'll show you how I do that. So move this out of the way for now. Set this over here. So what I've done is I went to Lesco and bought some 10-2-12. Those are the nutrients, 10-2-12. And I put them I just poured this in here in a little container. And so what I do is I just apply it on the top of the bed for now. And then I bought a little tool I thought it was going to be useful to help weed, but I found it's better to help work this fertilizer into the soil. So come over here. I put it in here, put it on the top, try to get it in there, or get it laid on the soil, the surface of the soil, as evenly as I possibly can. So I'm just paying attention to see that it's all evenly spaced. Pretty liberal amount, because this is a coated fertilizer. It's not like it's going to burn. And if these were young seedlings and you applied it, it'd be a different story, but these guys have already pretty well established. Now this is the tool that I bought to help weed, and what it does is, it kind of is designed to weed, but it doesn't work too good for that. So what I use it for is just to work this fertilizer into the ground. This, it works well for. So we do that here. And we got this area here in the garden was real close to a stand of pine trees, and I used my hydraulic tiller. I have a little loader and a tiller, and even though the tiller's hydraulic, it's got a lot of power, still wasn't good enough to do the roots. And my profession is a stump grinder, if you want to call it a profession. What I do to make a living is I do a little bit of tree work, mostly stump grinding, and I was able to get my stump grinder in here and eat up the roots pretty good, and then come back in with the tiller, fluff it up real nice, and then I take a rake and just pull these rows up with a rake on either side. So, and I'll be able to take this row, plant it, harvest these beans, cut them down, and leave the row intact, and plant in between the beans and not have to really disturb the row. So I'll be able to use this row twice, and I'll come back in and mulch this after I plant. Okay, so that's that. So now what I do is I just place them out I think they call for like 12-inch spacing or whatever. I usually tend to plant mine a little close. So I got 20 plants, and some of these I do 2 seeds per plant. So we do this number here. Get them spaced out. I got to get these bad boys in the ground because they are wilted. I want to show you a close-up of this this plant here. It's really well rooted, as you can see. I don't know how good that's showing up there, but it definitely needs to go in the ground. But they're fine. They're not like root bound or pot bound, as they say, so they're not going to slow down. If you left them in here for an extended period of time, then they could get pot bound to the degree where you plant them and they don't move. They just sit still. These are, really healthy, vibrant growing plants. What I do is I take and I buy a little bottle of Osmocote fertilizer and I top dress the plants with that fertilizer, and it will not burn. It's good for the vegetables. I mean, a lot of guys go strictly organic, and I've tried that route, and I had okay success, but it just seems like if you really want a good yield, you need to put some real fertilizer on them. So now that I got them evenly spaced here, like that, and then what I do with this thing is I keep these and I stick them in the soil right at the end of the bed. So I line these up. Now what I've done here is I got these posts at 20 foot apart, and I cut the length of the coated wire that I attach to the top. So I put my little bamboo sticks on that, and so I use these for that. But anyway, back to this. If you don't let the sun hit this, it won't get faded as badly. So what I do is I just take this and I make sure the riding part is not facing up, and I stick that in there, like in the soil right there. So I know what date these were planted.